I want to bring in our political panel. Joining us, former CIA officer and syndicated radio host Buck Sexton, Fox News contributor Leslie Marshall, great to see Leslie, and American Majority CEO Ned Ryan. Thank you all for being here. Buck, let me begin with you. Are we expecting any fireworks today? This is Canada, for crying out loud.
I was going to say, the personalities here are driving the story much more than the policy. If there is such a thing as being on autopilot when it comes to the relationship between two countries, the U.S. and Canada are at the top of the list. Now, we are talking about Trump, and there's no such thing as predictability, really, when it comes to how he's going to react in any policy situation. But on the issues of trade, obviously, they're our second biggest trading partner after China. Even Trump hasn't had anything bellicose, angry, or belligerent to say in any respect about Canada. He's talked about Mexico. He's talked about China. I think you're just going to see the beginning of a personal relationship forming between these two, which is important for policy reasons. But I don't think we're going to see a lot of surprises. But then again, I could be wrong. We'll see what comes up.
You never know with Donald Trump. Ned, let me bring you in. Justin Trudeau, 45 years old, good-looking liberal. And then you have Donald Trump, 70, and conservative. Politically, they are on the opposite ends of the spectrum. But could there be some sort of relationship here?
Oh, I think so. I mean, I do think there's obviously, as Buck was saying, that tradition between Canada and USA and trade relations. Again, I mean, the trade relations have been very much, Canada needs us a lot more than we need them. So, Trudeau's going to have to be very careful in how he approaches this. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of disagreement, again, on the Syrian refugee thing issue, where Trudeau said they're going to accept up to 40,000 Syrian refugees. And, of course, Trump is fighting that on the immigration ban. So there's obviously going to be a few differences. I think they're obviously going to find common ground. But you are going to see this bleeding heart liberal, as I like to call Trudeau, and the clear-eyed realpolitik of Donald Trump. And, right now, America, we're in a much better negotiating position. And quite frankly, I hope that Trump says, great, take all 40,000 Syrian refugees, which I think is kind of interesting that in the same week that Assad says there are terrorists embedded in these refugees, that Trudeau says, I'll take 40,000. Great, take them all.
Leslie Marshall, let's get to you. And in fact, Trudeau tweeted on the day that President Trump signed that executive order on immigration. He said, to those fleeing persecution, terror, and war, Canadians will welcome you regardless of your faith. Diversity is our strength. Welcome to Canada is the hashtag. Obviously, a difference of opinion there, certainly on the policy side of the immigration and refugee question, Leslie. Does that come out today, or do they avoid it?
I think they're going to avoid it. I mean, there's a reason that we have seen the president speak very harshly regarding Mexico. And if you notice, he wants to keep our borders safe and build a wall, but not with Canada. If you look at the facts, and the facts are Donald Trump's a great businessman, and it is great business when the United States cannot have a deficit, but rather a trade surplus, as we saw in 2015, over $6 billion. And in 2016, they're expecting that number to increase. If this ends up in a very bad relationship, and they are our second largest trading partner worldwide, we're looking at over 3 million jobs in the United States that could be affected between what Canada purchases and the investments that they make in the United States. So the bottom line here is it benefits both sides, although Canada right now needs us more than we need them. We certainly need a country where we who we have a surplus as opposed to a deficit.
But it's fair, don't you think, Leslie, just to follow up quickly, when you're talking about border security, you do think of Mexico and you don't think of Canada.
Well, this is where that racist term comes up again,
Oh, that's racist?
I think because no. I mean, when you have hot, white, Eastern European supermodels coming in through Canada, people don't think of them as a threat. Oh, come on, Ashley. I mean, the reality is that a lot of the people that come through Canada are largely white. They're coming from Ireland, or they're coming from England, or from Germany, or from Eastern European countries.
Are they coming legally?
There are many people. There are many people that come over the Canadian border illegally, just as our southern border with Mexico. And I think people just focus on our southern border with Mexico. Here in Los Angeles, we have people coming in through the ports from Asian countries illegally, but we just concentrate on that southern Mexico-U.S. border. We have 4 borders.
Yeah, well, that's true. Buck, respond.
Security at the northern border is important to us as well, and has become much stronger in a post-9/11 era, because the recognition that if the terrorists thought they could just get a flight to Canada and come across the border with complete ease, well, then why go through the trouble of trying to get a visa or try to get entry into the United States? So that is a real consideration. It's nothing compared to the illegal immigration issue, of course, and everything else, the cartels at the southern border. But the northern border has gotten a lot more attention in the last 15 years or so. But on the issue of immigration, I do think there's an interesting point that could be made by Trump or people on Trump's team, and that is that Canada has a very orderly immigration system. Canada has a system based upon points. They look at individuals, their backgrounds, their skills, and they essentially rank them, and they make determinations about who can come into the country that way. Now, they take in a fair number of refugees, they're taking in some more refugees, but they don't have the illegal immigration problem that we have, and they look at human beings and say, well, this is what you think, this is what we think you'll be as an asset to this country, yay or nay. They make the determination based on that, whereas in this country, it's primarily on family ties, chain migration. So Trump, I don't think, is going to want to get lectured by the Canadians who don't have the illegal immigration problem and add up points based on how people might contribute to the country. I think it's a very different system, a good system, actually.
It is. Ned, I want to touch on that a little bit because, as Buck says, the point system, the Australians use it as well. Could something like that work here?
It could. I mean, I think our immigration system is unfair, it's unjust, it's unethical on both sides. Not only the whole length and process of it, but the fact that we've been allowing so many illegals in. So I think one of the things that hopefully Trump's going to take a look at, first of all, we have to secure our southern borders. That's step one. We've got to deal with the violent illegals, get them out. We've got to deal with those that have been here for a period of time that are they call it the undocumented illegals. We've got to deal with that as well. But we also have to go in and do a reform of our immigration process. Right now, I don't think it should take 7 years to become an American citizen. I think it could be cut down to 3. But I think the biggest thing in our whole immigration process is reminding people, you're coming to America to become part of America, to become part of the dream, to become part of our culture. And so I think there are many things that can be done to reform our immigration system, from shortening it, but also really getting people to come be a part of our society and not balkanized, not having the Mexican American and putting in the hyphenated parts of that, but saying we're going to come here to be Americans, and that's going to be the emphasis now.
And that's been difficult, Leslie, hasn't it? Because, as we see people being rounded up now, as the law is actually being enforced, there's a cry from those who are undocumented, illegal, whatever what term you want to use. But they're saying, wait a minute, this isn't right. But my contention is, and others too, is that if you're here illegally, what rights do you have when it comes to dealing with the U.S. authorities and saying, look, I have a right to be here? There are many who would argue, no, you don't.
Wow, this is a huge discussion. I live in Southern California. Here in California, we have the largest number of undocumented workers. We had ICE officials following children off of school buses here. They also did it outside of Austin, Texas. Those children are not criminals because those children don't have a choice. I have an 8- and 9-year-old. I tell them what to do. They listen. I am the adult. They are a child. I was talking to somebody on my talk radio show who came here at 4. She didn't know until she was in college, technically, that she was an undocumented individual, that her parents had made this choice for her. I think we all agree, regardless of our ideology, if there's a criminal element, they need to be deported, not just to Mexico, to whatever country they came from. But when we have people that have been here longer than some of us have been here, some of these individuals have been here 4 or 5 generations, those individuals who have been working hard, who have not broken the law, nor had their family for generations, they pay taxes, and they are definitely an asset and a contributor to this economy, and are part of our fabric, our international fabric in this country. We need to find a pathway to citizenship for those individuals.
Go ahead, Ned. Go ahead.
No, I think this is one of the things where Republicans have to be very careful in dealing with those people that have been here for 15 or 20 years, who did come illegally, who were not on the right side of the law, but quite frankly have been contributing citizens to our society. I think that there are very smart ways. I think there are very thoughtful ways where we can get these people on the right side of the law and at the same time put them on a path to citizenship. And I think that's that third issue. Border security, dealing with the violent illegals, I don't think there's real debate on that. Dealing with the undocumented, I think, is going to be something where Republicans, they're going to have to be careful, but I think there are some very smart, sophisticated ways, maybe a little bit of a fine program along the way to give them some legal status until they become citizens. But Republicans have to be very careful on this issue, or it could be devastating to the party in the future.
Go ahead, Bob.
I was just going to say that the way that Donald Trump so far is approaching the issue, I think, is the right one, which is to do this step by step. He talks about security at the southern border, building a wall.
Illegal criminals.
Right, because we always have the discussion focused on the people that are the most sympathetic in this whole process. Children and those who've been here a long time, working hard, and have not been a problem for the law, other than the initial act of coming here illegally, but there are many steps before we would have to ever get to dealing with those individuals based on a prioritization of deportations, right? So when you look at what's been done so far, it's going to be criminals first, going to shut off the southern border. Then they need to deal with the magnet. They need to deal with employers that are employing large numbers of illegal immigrants, for them to stop doing that. Because eventually, if people feel like the border is secure and there is interior enforcement, we are dealing with visa overstays. I think the last year we have complete numbers for this. There were about 500,000 visa overstays in this country. So people are staying. And if you overstay your visa, chances are you're staying for quite a while. You're not just doing it because you forgot to book a plane ticket home because you're on vacation. So once all those things are in place, though, then you can have a talk about, well, maybe we should bring people into the system who have been here a long time.
Right.
And there'll also be a trust with much of the American people, I think, at that point, that the enforcement measures, paying back taxes, all the things that people talk about now that we know wouldn't be enforced, it wouldn't happen if this just was done tomorrow, that I think has to be in place first.
Go ahead, Ned.
And I think it's got to be both for the employees and the employers, that you can get them right with the law both at the state and federal level and say there is going to be a bit of a fine system. If you want to employ undocumented, you're going to pay a bit of a fine. Undocumented are also going to pay a bit of a fine because, quite frankly, these undocumented workers not having legal status, they need to get some sort of legal status on their path to citizenship. At the same time, there has to be a rule of law. They have to get right with the law. And I think this could actually be a sophisticated way for Republicans to say, we're going to get them on the path to citizenship. At the same time, it's going to increase state and federal revenue at the same time, as we're getting these people right with the law.
That's great, but Leslie, then aren't you encouraging people to come here illegally? Why go through the system? Why fill out all the forms, go through the interviews and all the rest of it that goes into it?
Only dealing with people that have already been here is undocumented. It's not letting new people in. No. Dealing with people that are already here is undocumented and saying, we're going to secure that border. You're not going to be doing this anymore. But we have to be realistic about the 11, 12 million that are already here. We can't just simply deport all of them en masse.
Yeah, but going forward, Leslie, surely we have to give a message that you can't continue to open the door and say, come on in, live in the shadows until eventually we can get you into the system.
Yeah, but this is multifaceted, okay? First of all, people aren't going to come here. If you're a rabbit, you're not coming unless the carrot is dangled. The corporations that hired these individuals to begin with have never been punished, and quite frankly need to be punished, because when the economy went south in this country, we saw immigration, not only from Mexico, but on all 4 of our borders, decrease. I'm with Rick Perry. You build a 12-foot wall, they get a 14-foot ladder, and we know that the drug cartel already have miles and miles of tunnels underneath. And honestly, I don't think we can afford both the wall and to man it with increased border security. And that's not going to help us with regard to terrorism if we just look at history. There are 2 issues here. One, we stop dangling the carrot of financial opportunity through jobs by penalizing corporations who hire individuals that are not American citizens or green card holders. 2, we do have to look at those overstaying their welcome on student and work visas, because a lot of people think, oh, it's all of these Mexicans coming, from the southern border. Look at the numbers of those who outstay their visas once they expire from work and student visas that were issued. And then, with regard to terrorism, we just need to look at it, with the exception of 9/11, where they did not come through Mexico. By the way, wall or no wall, when we look at terrorism, we have a problem in this country with individuals being angry, feeling disenfranchised, and if you don't want the titles Mexican American, Muslim American, then we need to unite.
I think you rounded up perfectly. Let's now